Alrighty, slow play games here with.
Rommel. I took first place this week at our locals, and I was playing Raging Bolt EX.
Alrighty, what are the matchups today?
Round 1 was against Dragapult, round 2 was against Poison Moon, and round 3 was against Gardevoir.
Alrighty, how did your Dragapult matchup go?
The Dragapult matchup was good. The pilot of the deck, our friend Ivan, this little kid, just a bad matchup for him. He didn't really know how to play against Raging Bolt too well, but as he grows older, I'm sure that he'll be able to think, play a lot better against certain decks.
Alrighty, and your round 2 matchup?
And then my round 2, it was against Poison Moon. It kind of made me think a lot more because I had a really good start, but against Poison Moon, I don't know specifically how it plays. And so I wanted to be a little bit more careful. And so I took a little bit more time with my decision making and my thinking. But in the end, I was able to take it.
For sure. And your final round, how did that go?
And then my final round against Gardevoir was against my friend that also played. I also play Gardevoir. Last week I was playing Gardevoir, and I went against him. And he's a pretty good Gardevoir player. Apparently, all he's been doing was playing Gardevoir, and he's definitely improved since last week. He knew the matchups pretty well, but I made sure that I couldn't get item locked or Badoo locked, or if I would, it wouldn't affect me too much.
Alrighty, we've seen you play Guardy before. What made you switch to Raging Bolt?
Raging Bolt was a list that I liked playing pre-rotation, and post-rotation, I started leaning more towards Dragapult and Gardevoir because Gardevoir won at regionals, and I was playing around with it, and it was my first deck ever, and so I wanted to play it more often. But with this most recent regional, I forgot who, but this is his list, and he took first place with it, and I finally got to see, how Raging Bolt plays in this new meta, and I really like the list.
For sure. Alrighty, let's dive right into it.
So I got 3 Raging Bolt EX, 3 Teal Mask Ogerpon, 2 Fan Rotom, 3 70 HP Hoot Hoots, 3 Jewel Seeker Noctowls, 1 Baby Raging Bolt.
How often did you see the baby Raging Bolt in play?
I was setting it up for Gardevoir because I wanted to snipe around the Badoo, but I ended up not needing it. My Fan Rotom took care of the game pretty well. I went first, and I knew I was going to get Badooed, and I had a really great start with 2 Hoot Hoots on the bench, Squawk, Fan Rotom, Teal Mask Ogerpon, and Area Zero in play, and Baby Raging Bolt. And so I got Fan Rotom with an energy on it, and then that was just able to help me through the Badoo lock. Not too much trouble, but definitely if I didn't have Fan Rotom, I definitely would have leaned more into Raging Bolt.
Alrighty.
And then I have 1 copy of Slitherwing.
And what does this one do?
So this Slitherwing for 2 fighting and 2 fighting, you can use Burning Turbulence. This Pokemon does 90 damage to itself, and the opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. So I like this card a lot because it can one-shot Fez. And with Prime Catcher as my ace spec, I see it a lot in a lot of matchups. And if I use my Prime Catcher before I get to Slitherwing and boost up Fez, I don't really use it too much besides just attaching energy with it with Saga.
Alrighty.
I have 1 copy of Ditto.
Ditto. How often do you use Ditto? And what do you go into with it?
So with Ditto, it kind of is there as another option. Let's say you have like a Latios in the active, Latios in the active and 2 ball searches. I would ball search for Squawk, and then another ball search for Fan Rotom, and then I'd use Fan Rotom's ability for 2 Hoot Hoots and 1 Ditto if it's in my deck and not in my prizes. And then I'd switch Ditto into the active and do a transformative start for Teal Mask Ogerpon so that my Hoot Hoots, when they evolve, can do what they need to do. And then I'd Squawk. That right there to me is a perfect board state for the beginning of the game. Anyway. Yeah.
Alrighty. What else we got?
I have one Latias EX for its Skyliner ability, one Mew EX for its restart ability and for its pivot option, one Pheasantipity, one Squawkabilly. I have a 4 copy of Ultra Ball for consistency, 4 copy of Nest Ball for consistency, 3 Earthen Vessels so that I could really search out those energies when I need it, and they really do come in clutch even late game. Nights, 2 copies of Night Stretcher. I really do like 2 copies. Help me out a lot through the games, and if I can't, accelerate energy and I haven't attached return, sometimes I can get the Night Stretchers to work for me. I have 1 copy of Palpad, just in case I squawk away some really big supporters. Only 1 copy of Energy Retrieval, 1 copy of Prime Catcher as our ace spec, 4 Professor Sada, 2 Crispin. This actually helped me a lot. I didn't realize how helpful Crispin could be in this deck, but it did take me out of some rough scenarios. I have 1 copy of Judge. At first, when I saw this list, I was a little skeptical. I was not understanding why Judge was in the deck, but it really helped me with my last match. I knocked out for it because I couldn't Sada, and Crispin was in the discard, and I didn't have Palpad to search it back. So I grabbed Judge, and I judged him into a 4-card hand, and he just bricked. So it really does come in clutch. And in playtesting, too, with this deck, sometimes I would forget Judges totally in the deck, and then I'd get Iono to 2 or Iono to 1, and Judge would be right there. And so, very useful card. I like it. I'm going to keep it back into the deck. I have 1 copy of Boss's Orders. The 1 copy of Boss's Orders is okay. I kind of would want more Gust. I do miss Pokemon Catcher a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But 1 Boss Orders is fine. If I wasn't going to play the Judge, I would have replaced it for another Boss's Orders, but I'm very glad that I don't. Then I have 2 copies of Area Zero and 1 copy of Jamming Tower.
How often has the Jamming Tower seen play?
Jamming Tower was going to see play when I was going against Gardevoir, and it was supposed to see play when I was going against Poison Moon, but I couldn't get it out. I think I just couldn't search it out. But I usually like using Area Zero turn 1, to get my bench fat. And then mid game, when all my knockdowns are used and my Fan Rotom is just on the bench and like my Squawk is just a liability on the bench, I like to bump my own Area Zero if it's not bumped already with Jamming Tower and get those liabilities off the play. Really useful too to get Pokemon with damage out of the game so that your opponent can't take more prizes.
Fair.
I have 1 copy of Bravery Charm.
And this one usually goes on...
It depends on the matchup. With Gardevoir, I knew that I was going to get 1 shot anyway. And so Raging Bolt, not all the time gets 1 shot, but usually it gets 1 shot. And so with Gardevoir, it didn't really see any play. But besides attaching onto Teal Mask Ogerpon, because with Double Monkey Dory and Miracle Force, he can't knock it out. And I wanted to put it out of range of a Bravery Charm Screamtail. So really useful in the Gardevoir matchup. I only had 1 Teal Mask Ogerpon. I didn't end up using Bravery Charm anyway because I had just a really good start and a very big lead. I had 2 prizes while he had 6. So not a lot of play by Bravery Charm in the Gardevoir matchup, but it would have if the game lasted longer.
Alright.
And then I have the normal 3 line of Fighting Energy, 3 line of Electric Energy, and a 5 line of Grass Energy.
Dang, deck's looking pretty solid. Is there any matchups that you're afraid of currently?
Afraid of? Um, I feel more comfortable with all of the matchups except Goldango. Uh, I do see that Goldango sees a lot of play, and there was one at our locals tonight. Luckily, I didn't get matched up against him. Uh, it just would have made me think a lot more, and running the 2-2-2 line for my prize mapping would have been a little tricky. But if I was able to go first, or if I was able to go first, I think I would have been able to get it by attacking his one prizer with my one prizer and forcing him to have gust and everything. But it's just I'm very Goldango is very foreign to me, so I'm just not confident in the matchup. I don't think like I would definitely lose against Goldango. It's just it's complicated uh, for me. And basically, any other decks that I'm nervous about is decks that I don't know how they run. So like Poison Moon, I know it has a poison package. I'm not too sure what Roaring Moon did. So I had to play it a lot more carefully. But in the end, I was able to take the dub.
Alrighty. Since Raging Bolt recently won a regionals, um, how do you feel about the mirror match, let's per se?
The mirror match, I feel like it would be just a lot of Slitherwing or Koraidon or Baby Raging Bolt seeing play until that 2-2-2 line is open. Um, it's not too bad. I feel like it's just whoever were to take the first two prizes.
Fair enough, fair enough. Alrighty. Any shout outs that you want to say?
Shout out to the guy that built this deck. I'm sorry that I don't know your name, but you played Raging Bolt, and I really like Raging Bolt. So yeah,
Were you surprised when Raging Bolt got first?
I wasn't surprised. I was a little disappointed at the beginning of rotation when not a lot of people were playing Raging Bolt, but now that it won a regional, it's getting a lot more recognition. And I don't like deck building. I'm not too good at it, so I like seeing other decks and then playing the other decks and deciding what to remove and add in for my type of play style. That's what I did for Gardevoir. I copied Brent Tallison's list and adjusted it to how I play, and I like it a lot. And I don't see anything wrong with this deck, so I think I'm just going to keep it the same.
Alrighty, for sure. I think that's all we have for now, but we'll see you in the next one.
All right, see ya.